Hello. Where is everyone coming in from? So I can see that we've got, there's, hi Geraldine. Hi Kelly, you okay? Quite a few names on here that I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you just put a one in the chat if you can actually hear me? Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, guys. So you're here today to see why your nervous system might be dysregulated. So if anybody here is not from the UK, can you just tell me where you're from if you're not from the UK? Okay, I think we're all from the UK. So if you're from the UK, just put in the chat which area in the UK you're from, and you'll understand why I'm asking you this actually when we're going through. So just put in the chat where you're from: West Midlands, Birmingham, London, Manchester, wherever. Okay, quite a few from London. Hi, Irina. Okay, so we've got quite a few from Birmingham. Nice. Okay, so we've got a mixture. So today we're going to talk about the three-step nervous system reset. So that's why you're here today. And I'm sure that many of you today have experienced exhaustion, pain, or not sleeping. So is there anybody right now who would say that they feel exhausted? Put a one in the chat if you feel exhausted. And is there anyone who's experiencing pain, or maybe you've had pain that you've experienced before? Put a two in the chat if you've experienced pain or if you're going through pain right now. And this is the biggest one, the sleep. Okay. Many women, whether I coach them or not, they always complain to me about their sleep. Either they don't get enough hours sleep, put a three in the chat if your sleep is not good, or they just don't feel rested when they wake up, even if they've had over 7 hours. Okay, so there's a lot more of you here that are struggling with sleep than anything else. Okay, so I want to get you from where you're feeling today into a more calm state, feeling energized and sleeping through the night. Do you know that people pay to sleep through the night? And I'm talking about people go on holiday, people will go on a spa break, people will they'll just do anything where they feel that they can sleep because sleep is so important. It is the pivotal of everything else. So I myself have done a lot of things right. Okay, I look after myself, I look after my health. I've done a lot of things right. I've helped women for over 15 years. I've exercised consistently. I've learned all about nutrition. I've studied behavior change and why people do the things they do. And I've supported a lot of people. But in all of that, I'm going to be honest with you and say I've also done a lot of things wrong. Just because somebody is health conscious, it doesn't mean that they're balanced. So when it comes to the things that I've done wrong, I've had years where I've slept for 4 to 5 hours a night and functioned, so I thought, and got on with it. I've ignored stress. There's been times where maybe I know that I needed to have maybe calmed down or not done so much, but I've ignored it and I've stayed in survival mode. And here, this picture, I was actually training more in this picture than I was in this picture. And it's simply because the lifestyle that I was living, the lack of sleep, ignoring stress, living in an overstimulated body, it wasn't helping. And, I thought exhaustion was normal. How many times have you heard people say rest is for the weak? That's ridiculous. People say rest is for the weak. I used to say that. Who needs to rest? Who needs to sleep? And it's only as you get older that you start to realize that actually sleep is so important. So I obviously got my body to start responding in a way that it needed to. And I'm going to show you how I've done that and how I've helped many others do that. So I stopped recovering properly, which is one of the things that made me trigger and made me realize that, my goodness, something's got to give. A lot of us, we're always on the go, especially women who are, they're in full-time work. They're still looking after a home. Maybe they've still got kids living at home. and they're still going and they don't recover. They leave themselves till last. I've got clients who will cook a meal for their family and then they'll say, I didn't have anything. I don't know what happened in between doing the dinner for someone else and not doing your own dinner. I have no idea. But that's what happens. We tend to do everything for everyone else first and forget our own recovery. Put a 1 in the chat if right now you feel like you're forgetting your own recovery. Now, I got to a point where I was exhausted all the time, going to bed at 2 a.m., getting everything done, waking up still at the same alarm clock, 5:45, no matter what time I went to bed. I was getting up at 5:45 and I was exhausted. But guess what? I still had to work. I still had to homeschool. I still had to get everything done. I still had to look after my mom. And that's just what I did. And now I see this happening with so many women in midlife. As I start to get older, I've now realized that a lot of women, men as well, but a lot of women, they care for their parent. 10 years ago, I don't know much people my age that were looking after their parents, whereas now I'm just like, wow, we all just seem to be looking after our parents. The roles are reversing. So when I'm seeing women trying to do a full-time job, run a house, and now look after their parents and leaving themselves till last, no wonder they're struggling. So, these women, they are trying so hard, but they feel exhausted. I've got women who either they're on my social media platform and they say, I eat well, I train, and I'm still not able to lose the belly fat. Who's got stubborn belly fat? Put a 1 in the chat. They say to me, I'm doing everything right. In fact, they say I'm eating better now than I was before. But guess what? My belly fat's not going. We'll find out today why that is. Okay? And then we have to think about the sleep. Oh, I'm eating my protein. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing my steps. Oh, that's really good. And how many hours a day are you sleeping? Oh, probably about 5, 6 at a push. Okay. Do you think that on a 5, maybe 6 hour sleep cycle, your body is able to repair itself? Do you think on a 5 to 6 hour sleep cycle, your fat cells are able to reduce? So yes, you might be doing everything right. However, there's one thing that needs changing that's stopping everything from showing the progress. And then you feel inflamed. Who wakes up and they think, wow, my stomach's nice and flat, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you look 6 months pregnant. What happened in those 6 hours? Your body's inflamed. Why is your body inflamed? Because now you don't realize that you're eating foods that your body can no longer tolerate. Yeah, when you was 30 and 40, maybe even 40, you could drink dairy and there was no problem. Now you're drinking dairy and you're starting to itch. Now you're drinking dairy and you're starting to bloat. Now you're eating tomatoes in a salad and you feel like you're pregnant. Why is that happening? Because when you were younger, your body could tolerate inflammatory foods, whereas now you've got hormones that are going all over the place. If you're going into perimenopause or you're in perimenopause or menopause, your hormones are going all over the place. Your estrogen levels are changing, your progesterone levels are changing. And those foods that you could get away with before, you can no longer get away with. So you're inflamed. And guess what inflammation does in the body? It causes pain. And when we've got inflammation and pain, how can we be well rested? How can we have a good night's sleep if our body's inflamed? So now you're going to bed and maybe you're only getting 5 to 6 hours. And guess what's happening? You're still waking up tired and you're waking up with the same pain that you went to bed with. Okay, so now you're starting to feel stuck. Oh, I'm doing everything right. But guess what? The scales aren't moving. Oh, I'm doing everything right, but my stomach's growing. Oh, I'm doing everything right, but my body's hurting. Why is that happening? So we need to look at the fact that we do not need more discipline. There's so many conversations that I've had with women that say, oh, I think I just need to do more of this. Oh, I think I need to do more of that. And they're trying to be more disciplined, and they feel as though what they're doing needs an added extra. This is not a willpower problem. You do not have a willpower problem. Yes, you might know what you need to do sometimes and you're not doing it, but that's not a willpower problem. It's not an age problem. It's not, oh, do you know what? I'm expected to feel like this because, I'm in my 50s now. I'm in my 60s now. So, I'm expected to feel pain. My knees are supposed to hurt. I'm supposed to have this belly fat. It's not an age problem. This is a nervous system problem. And most women don't realize that their body has been stuck in survival mode for years. Okay? If you're telling me that you haven't slept well for 10 years, what do you think's been happening in that time? If you're telling me that you feel as though you're doing everything right, but yet you're gaining weight, your body is stuck in survival mode. And when it's stuck in survival mode, you can't progress. So my goal today is to show you what's actually happening, why your body feels stuck, and what finally helps it regulate again. Because if we can regulate our body again, it doesn't matter what age we are. We can't put age down as an excuse. We can't put any of our circumstances down as an excuse. We have to look at how we can regulate ourselves again. And if you stay until the end, you'll understand why your body feels exhausted, why nothing has worked long term, what actually helps your body to regulate, and how to support this at home. Stop using I need to go on holiday as an excuse to reset your nervous system. Stop using, oh, I need to book an appointment in with my masseuse. Oh, I've got shoulder pain, I've got back pain, I can't wait to see my massage therapist. Why are you putting appointments in your diary for you to feel good again? What's wrong with daily? That's where we want to be. Who wants to feel good every single day? Put a 1 in the chat if you would love to feel good every single day. Of course we would. So I'm Rachel. I've been coaching women and men, but now women, for 15 years. I'm a menopause specialist, NLP master practitioner, and a behavior change coach. So I've helped women improve their energy, reduce their stress, feel calm again, and feel more in control of their body. And I'm not going to lie, I've had some pretty amazing results with my clients over the years. Over 500 clients I've coached, and I've helped them to get amazing results. But if there's one thing I could never do, I couldn't move in with them. I couldn't help them sleep more. I couldn't help them to regulate their nervous system. I could give them all the accountability. I could give them all the right foods, the plans, the accountability that they needed to maintain their result. But one thing I could never do was improve their sleep. Okay, so I'm not going to say that I was great with everything. I knew that something was missing. Because even when women did everything right and they got the result, I've helped people lose 15 stone in under 18 months. They were doing everything right, but there was still something missing. They were still feeling exhausted. They still had to get on with everything. They still had to go to work every day, come home, look after their kids. They still had to look after maybe their parents as well. They were exhausted, and I couldn't change that because they weren't sleeping. And if you're in perimenopause, maybe even menopause, you will understand what it feels like to wake up and not be able to go back to sleep. Your body is exhausted, but your mind is still in overdrive. Why is your mind in overdrive? So we need to look today at the problem rather than the symptoms. Okay? So these women, they still had pain. That could be mental pain. That could be physical pain. They had pain that I could not reduce. Okay? They felt stuck. And there's a lot of stress that adults carry through trauma from when they were younger. And if you're an adult that's still thinking about things that you were going through as a young person, of course, that's going to keep you stuck because trauma keeps us stuck. So we have to fix the root to be able to get unstuck. And it was only when I realized this through my own mom. So most of you know that I look after my mom. She has Alzheimer's. But my mom's journey didn't just become somebody who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and now I look after her. When did it start? If we have dementia or if we have a rheumatoid arthritis or something that we were not born with, when did it start? So I realized through my mom's journey of maybe being around 42 when she had just started going into perimenopause that she was starting to become forgetful. And a lot of that was because of her not sleeping. And I'm talking probably functioning on 2, maybe 3 hours, 3 hours a night for 15 years. My mum was doing that. And that was because, yes, in later life, she did have a child. When I was in my 20s, she had a child and she had to look after a baby in perimenopause while working. And all of that contributed to memory loss, stress, anxiety, and her nervous system became dysregulated. And I saw the pattern was because of her not sleeping. Now, in dementia, the pattern started to show signs again, and she wasn't sleeping. Now, I'm talking about my mom was waking up 10 times a night. And who's got to put her back to bed? Either me or my younger sister. So she's sleep deprived, and now we're sleep deprived. She would wake up, she would be disorientated, she would be anxious. And I was like, something's got to give. What is making her anxious? Yes, I understand when people have dementia, their sleep pattern changes. I understand that. However, this was too regular. This was 3 years of my mum waking up 10 times a night. My hair was falling out. My sister, who was 23, was getting grey hair at 23. And we both said, well, we have to put mum into a care home. There's nothing we can do. We can't do this. And then I was like, no, I need to figure something out. My mum was in pain. She had shoulder pain for 2 years. We weren't able to get anything to help with the pain because doctors didn't really know where the pain was coming from. Nothing was changing. And we were told there's nothing more we can do. This is dementia. This is what happens. And I wasn't going to settle for that. Frozen shoulder for 2 years, and I was given 6 weeks supply of ibuprofen gel. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this ibuprofen gel when it runs out? Because the shoulder pain's still there. So we've got to fix the root cause. What's the reason for the shoulder pain? That's all I wanted to know, but we didn't have answers. So I came across a friend who shared with me her result of her psoriasis in her hair that she had been suffering with for over 18 months that had disappeared in 2 weeks. And I'm like, I've got psoriasis, and I know that it took me 7 years to realize that my psoriasis was triggered from sugar in my food. Soon as I eliminated that, my psoriasis went. So how have you been able to get rid of your psoriasis? Has it been with sugar? She said, no, with PEMF therapy. And I was like, PEMF therapy? What's that? And as I started to research, I discovered that PEMF therapy helps to recharge our cells and reset our nervous system at a cellular level. And I said, could this help my mom? Could this help my mom's sleep? Could this help my mom's pain? So every single night, I give my mom a PEMF therapy session every single night and charge her cells. And through that, my mom has slept not only through the night, but now we have to wake her up. I am not kidding you. I put my mom to bed at 9 p.m. and at 10 a.m. I wake her up for the centre because she goes to a day centre. Now, when I'm seeing the result of me and my sister struggling for 3 years, not understanding what we were going to do, we were going to put my mom into care. My mom's 69 years of age. We were looking at putting my mom into care at 67. And I was like, we can't put a 67-year-old woman into care. That's not right. And now I've found a solution where my mom is sleeping 12, 13 hours a night. And guess what? No shoulder pain. So now I want to show you exactly how PEMF therapy works, because if you've never heard of PEMF therapy like I hadn't, you wouldn't know or understand what it does. So I'm going to share a video with you now, and just put a 1 in the chat when it's playing, just to let me know that you can hear this video and see it.
Still tired, even after a full night's sleep, struggling with pain that just won't go away, doing everything right, but still not feeling like yourself. You're not alone. This video will introduce you to PEMF, a science-backed approach to restoring energy, supporting recovery, and helping your body work better. It's safe, non-invasive, and has been used in clinical settings for decades. Thanks to technological advances, today's PEMF devices provide state-of-the-art solutions once limited to large clinical machines. Some models also feature patented technology designed to deliver precise, effective electromagnetic pulses for optimal results. PEMF therapy began in mid-20th century medical research, particularly in Eastern Europe. Doctors and scientists discovered that pulsed magnetic fields could stimulate cellular repair, reduce inflammation, and promote bone growth. In the early 2000s, NASA built on this research to help astronauts recover from muscle atrophy and bone loss in space, where Earth's magnetic field is absent. When astronauts spend time in zero gravity, their bodies suffer. NASA discovered that pulsed electromagnetic fields help reverse this damage, restoring vitality, bone density, and muscle function. If it works for astronauts in space, imagine what it can do here on Earth. Originally, PEMF equipment was room-sized and required specialized clinical settings. Today's devices are smaller, more accessible, and easier to use at home. Every cell in your body holds a charge. When that charge is strong, your body heals, performs, and regulates itself more easily. But when stress, inflammation, or age lowers that charge, recovery slows, pain lingers, energy fades. PEMF helps recharge that energy gently and consistently. 5 grounding analogy. You've probably heard of grounding walking barefoot outdoors to absorb Earth's natural energy. PEMF is like a more targeted, amplified version of that. It delivers those same low-frequency signals directly to your body anytime, anywhere. It's like having the Earth's healing energy at your fingertips. PEMF sends a series of low-frequency pulses through the body. These waves improve circulation, enhance oxygen flow, support detox, and help reset your body's natural rhythm. On a cellular level, PEMF boosts your cell's ability to produce and use energy known as ATP. Stronger, more energized cells lead to better health and faster recovery. PEMF has been FDA approved since the 1970s for clinical use in areas like bone healing and post-surgical recovery. It's supported by over 10,000 published studies and more than 2,000 clinical trials worldwide. Today, PEMF devices are increasingly used around the world in hospitals, clinics, and homes as a safe, natural form of energy support. While PEMF is FDA cleared for specific uses, these statements aren't evaluated by the FDA to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Only Life's PEMF devices are certified for quality and safety through international testing standards, ensuring each unit meets strict wellness technology benchmarks. Most people haven't heard of PEMF yet, but those who have, many use it daily and won't go without it. Athletes use it to speed up recovery. Biohackers turn to it for enhanced energy, sleep, and long-term performance. And everyday people rely on it when nothing else seems to work. People often turn to PEMF when they're dealing with things like chronic pain, low energy, slow healing, aging skin, or poor sleep that doesn't improve, no matter how healthy their habits. Some practitioners observe that PEMF supports energy flow along meridian points. Similar to acupuncture, though research is ongoing. If that sounds familiar, PEMF might be the missing piece your body's been waiting for. Using PEMF is simple. Most sessions last just 10 to 30 minutes a day while you read, relax, or work. No major major lifestyle changes. No pressure, just consistent, natural energy support your body can actually use. Dr. Cindy Hodgson, a physical therapist and exercise physiologist with nearly 30 years of hands-on experience, shares this.
I've worked with the body at a deep level for decades, and what I've noticed with PEMF is something I can feel. When my patients use it before treatment, they relax more and their bodies respond better. Personally, I've seen changes in my own energy and sleep without having any major issues to begin with. Even post-workout soreness clears up faster.
It's not just about treating problems. It's about supporting the body's natural energy in a way that feels tangible, subtle, but real. PEMF has also been explored in depth by researcher and educator Dr. Bryant Myers, author of PEMF, The Fifth Element of Health. In his book, he explains why pulsed electromagnetic fields are just as essential to well-being as air, water, food, and sunlight, helping the body recharge at the cellular level. His work has helped bring more awareness to the everyday benefits of PEMF for energy, sleep, and recovery. If you're looking for a smarter way to support your energy, recovery, and long-term health, PEMF might be the upgrade your body has been waiting for. Experience the benefits once limited to big medical devices now in a compact, consumer-friendly form. Ask the person who shared this video how you can try it for yourself. PEMF Recharge from the inside out.
Okay, so you can see that is how I was able to help my mom reduce her pain. So as I say, before that, I hadn't heard of PEMF therapy. I'm not going to lie and say I had. Her sleep obviously has improved from that, and her nervous system has finally calmed down. So we're going from, waking up 10 times a night now to 12 to 13 hours sleep. So obviously she's happier inside, and we are as well. Now, I realized that before that, when we were looking at helping my mum with, ibuprofen gel for her shoulder, we were given sleeping tablets and told, don't go past 2 weeks because we don't want her to get reliant on these and it's not good for her balance. So we were looking at how we could fix her symptoms, but we wasn't looking at the root cause. What was the reason for her not being asleep? What was the reason for the shoulder pain? For them to have gone, now we realize it was her nervous system, which was dysregulated. And most women today, they're trying to heal from a body that's stuck in survival mode. Okay. Same with men. If there are men on the chat as well, same with men as well. So we don't want to be looking at the hard way. If you're pushing through right now and you're ignoring exhaustion, you just feel as though you're always on the go, you're just classed as a high functioning woman. You are functioning, however, you're ignoring exhaustion, because there's times where you sit down and your body shuts down. And if you've had that experience, then you already know that your body is exhausted. And if you depend on medication, any bit of pain, let me call my doctor. Oh, this has happened, let me take this. Forgetting that there is a reason for the pain. Forgetting that there's a reason for the sleep deprivation. What's the reason for the sleep deprivation? I'm anxious. What's the reason why you're anxious? We have to look at the reason, the root, before we start looking at tablets, medication. We don't accept pain. And then for those of you who are trying to maybe lose belly fat or just lose fat in general, how many of you keep restarting? Who has lost 10 pounds and then been like, why didn't I carry on? Why did I fall off? What happened? Who feels like that? Put a 3 in the chat if you have been on a fat loss journey and then you don't even know why you stopped. Self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is because you are exhausted and you are not addressing the reason why you're exhausted. So guess what you do? You regress and then you have to start over again. So you can do all of that, or you can just regulate your nervous system first. Fix the root cause, because when the body feels safe, everything changes. When you feel safe, and I'm talking about your nervous system, when your nervous system feels safe to rest, it recovers. When your nervous system feels safe to sleep, your body heals. But if you're always on guard, or you're always feeling dysregulated, then you don't allow your nervous system to feel safe. So the first mistake is trying to treat the symptoms, because the symptoms are only masking the root. So we don't want to treat the symptoms. I've had ankle pain for 8 years. Imagine having ankle pain for 8 years and then being told there's nothing much you can do for it. Geraldine had hospital visits monthly and physiotherapy appointments every 2 weeks for 18 months. Nothing was working. And I met up with Geraldine and she had a PEMF therapy session. And after a few sessions, guess what happened? She went to her physio appointment, the same one that she'd been going to every 2 weeks, and was told, you don't need to come back unless you feel like you need to come back. Can you imagine that? And not only that, Geraldine lost 2 kilograms in 48 hours. And do you know what that was from? The water retention that was around her ankles that disappeared. Because a lot of women who I see, they're carrying water, their calves, their ankles, their feet, they're carrying water retention. So Geraldine went from 18 months of 2 weeks, every 2 weeks appointment with a physio, to be then told, come back when you think you need to come back. Amazing. And that was just after a few PEMF therapy sessions. The pain reduced just from a few sessions. But before that, was told, we don't really know what it is. It's crazy. Relying on medication, that's another mistake. And now I'm not trying to say that people don't need medication, because there are times where people do need medication. I'm talking about relying on medication, where you just feel as though you need to have the medication. But then what happens when somebody's very reliant on medication? It might be helping the thing that they're having the medication for. But do you know what happens? They get a side effect and now something else is happening. Now, I have a client who was taking 4 tablets and only needed 2. What was the other 2 tablets for? To stop the side effects for the 2 tablets that she was taking. So the other 2 weren't really medication that she needed, but they were to stop her from getting side effects from the 2 tablets. That's ridiculous. 4 tablets because you feel as though your body can only respond to medication, but you haven't yet tried to fix the root. Who was doing that? Because after 1 session, her pain disappeared. Jane had a session and she came, and before the session, her knee was in pain. Her elbow, for no apparent reason, was killing her. She didn't know why her elbow joint was hurting. And after 1 session, she said, I don't know what's happened, but my elbow pain's gone. What was your elbow pain between 1 and 10 before the session? About an 8. What is it now? Well, nothing, because it's gone. How mad is that? How's your knee? She stood up and she said, my knee pain's gone. How mad is that? And now, this is not to say that every single person has 1 session and feels relief. But this is just showing you that when your body is dysregulated and now you start to heal it from the inside out, it will do whatever it needs to do. And everybody's result is different. And then she slept soundly, and the following day still was pain-free. So it's just showing you that there's sometimes medication may feel like it's helping, and it may be masking whatever the reason is for the pain. But why don't we try to look at the root to see why we're getting the pain in the first place before trying to mask it? And then mistake 3 is when you're trying to push through exhaustion. You clearly know that you are tired. You clearly know that you are exhausted, but you're still trying to push through. I have clients who they're tired by 8 p.m. They could literally go into bed and go to sleep at 8 p.m. But do you know what they do? They find one more thing to do. Who's trying to empty the dishwasher at 11 p.m. when you was tired from 8? Put a 2 in the chat if at 11 p.m. you're looking at that last email. Oh, let me just check my emails to see if anyone's emailed me. It's 11 p.m. You was tired from 8 p.m. and now you're pushing through exhaustion. Oh, let me just go and check this, which really and truly you could check in the morning, but you're still going, you're still pushing. And do you know what that is? Your nervous system feeling guilty for you resting. It doesn't want you to rest because your nervous system hasn't been allowed to feel safe. So it's trying to keep you going. And Judith, who was doing those things, slept from 8:30 till 5 a.m. And before that, Judith was going to bed at 1 and 2 a.m. And Judith wasn't just going to bed at 1 and 2 a.m. with nothing. She was going to bed at 1 and 2 a.m. with snacks. Who's going to bed at 1 a.m. with snacks? But that's what she was doing. And she was doing it for years and years, because with exhaustion and sleep deprivation, do you know what comes with it? Emotional eating. And when you're an emotional eater, you will find comfort through food. And that's what Judith was doing. But then after PEMF therapy, she was listening to her body, and her nervous system was saying, I feel safe. I'm going to bed. I'm not waiting up for no reason. And that's exactly what she did. We sleep deeper when our nervous system feels safe. We have more energy. Do you know what? I was on the treadmill just before coming on here, and I received a message from Charlene, and she said, girl, I've got so much energy today. I've cut my grass. I've cut my mum's grass. I've done this. I've done that. And I'm reading the message and I'm like, but I know what she felt like 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, she wouldn't have been cutting no grass. 2 weeks ago, she was actually waking up every single night for a wee. And now she's telling me, I don't wake up for a wee. How do you wake up for a wee every single night for 5 years straight, and then for 2 weeks, you haven't woken up for a wee? What changed in the 2 weeks? You're not taking any medication. What changed? Your nervous system. Do you know why? Because when we are dysregulated, our cortisol level is high. So our stress level is high. So when we're asleep, we're in two states, unconscious and subconscious. So if we are sleeping unconsciously, we're in a nice deep sleep. Everything feels great. But if our nervous system is dysregulated and our cortisol levels start to spike, guess what's starting to happen? Our melatonin levels are reducing and we're starting to wake up. Slowly, our brain is starting to wake up. And guess what happens when the eyes open at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.? You're thinking about whatever it is that is what woke you up in the first place. Whatever you went to bed on, whatever thought you went to bed on, that anxiety, that stress that's keeping you up has now woke you up. And that's the first thing you're starting to think about. So now you've started to realize, oh, my bladder's full, so I'll go for a wee. You did not wake up because your bladder was full. You woke up because your cortisol level spiked, and now you realize your bladder's full. So now you go for a wee. However, if your nervous system was regulated, there'd be no reason for you to wake up. And you'd wake up in the morning when your alarm goes off, and then you'd go and empty your bladder. So when we're helping our nervous system to feel regulated, we're sleeping deeper. There is no reason for us to feel stressed and anxious. We don't need to wake up and start thinking about that thing that's keeping us up. And that's exactly what was happening with Charlene. And now we've got Angela, who's blaming aging. Oh, my knees hurt, my back hurts, this hurts, that hurts, but it's my age. Why do we have to feel that our age should be is the thing that's responsible for making us have pain, for making us not sleep? Why are we blaming age? Would that be fair to say that, oh, I'm 70 now, so I'm not expected to sleep? Oh, I'm 70 now, so I'm supposed to feel this pain? Oh, I'm 70 now, so I'm supposed to be stressed? Who said that? So now we've got Angela, who was told last month by the hospital, there's nothing more you can do. This is it, unfortunately. This is the pain that you have to just, try and bear with. This is it. Who's now going down the stairs, no longer struggling. She's no longer struggling when she's going down the stairs. But for 8 years, she was struggling. So what changed? There's been no medication. But I want you to actually hear her testimonial herself, because she puts it better than me. So put a 1 in the chat if you can hear the video, by the way.
My feet are not as cold, and usually I've always got my gas fire. So the gas fire is here, and I'm sitting here, and normally I can't feel the heat in my leg because I've got like the metal in there. But since I've had the treatment then, my feet ain't as cold. Honestly, words can't express the difference for me, because the last couple of months have been really bad. And as I said, I've really suffered. But honestly, I went out front on my knees. I was going up on the stairs like the train station, where usually I'd go straight to the lift. But I was feeling the stairs, and I'm saying to my niece, I can't believe it. I'm going up the stairs. The whole day, I was so happy. But you know what? It was the best day ever, honestly. Because I feel so good within myself, and I feel like I've got a bit more energy as well. So yeah, very upbeat, but thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, honestly, it's really good. I've got a spring my step now, so I'm good.
Love it.
You know what I mean? But thank you, Rach. It's down to you.
Okay, so I wouldn't say it's down to me. It's just down to PEMF therapy. But what an amazing case study, because I remember how she looked and how she felt when she came for her session. And I'm just like, if we just feel and believe that age plays a part in how we, how our body responds to pain and sleep, then what's the point? How can we feel positive about that? If I knew that in 20 years from now I'm expected to feel pain and I can't sleep, then I'll just be like, well, I don't really want to get old. Like, what's the point? No, we cannot believe that nothing will work and that nothing will help us, but some people do. And we know that if we've spent hundreds, even some people thousands, whether it's private healthcare, whether it's continuous appointments, trying to help themselves and nothing's worked, you will get to a point where you just feel like a lost cause. You'll just think, well, you know what? I've tried everything. Nothing's worked. Jade came to my clinic, and I'm telling you, the pain, even just to come up the stairs, because my clinic does have stairs, even just to come up the stairs, I felt bad for her. And I was kind of thinking, should I cancel you just because I'm not sure you can make it? And you know what? After her session, she was just like, wow, I haven't felt my feet in years. How can some people be walking and say that they don't really have feeling in their feet? Our feet are the things that keep us up. Our feet carry the whole of our body. And for some people, they say, I can't really feel my feet. They've got neuropathy or nerve damage or poor blood circulation, and they can't feel their feet. And now they stand up and they say, I can feel my feet after 30 minutes, but they couldn't feel their feet for 20 years. I'm like, yo, this is mad. It is crazy. So it's for you to understand today that your body is not broken. It's got nothing to do with age. It's got nothing to do with anything except a dysregulated nervous system. Now, am I here saying that every single body in the world is going to feel fixed if they do PEMF therapy? Well, no. But what I'm saying is every single body in the world has cells. Everybody has blood cells. And if those cells are flat, the battery is dead, then there is going to be consequences. If you charge those cells, you charge those batteries, then of course something's going to happen. So when our body is finally supported properly, we start to feel less inflammation, less pain. We start to sleep better. We start to think better. We start to think clearer. There are people texting me that tell me, I feel like I'm thinking clearer, like there was a fog in front of my eyes that's gone. That's crazy. Now I want to show you what our blood cells look like before they're charged and what they look like after. So this is Katrina. Katrina had a blood analysis done and she filmed it kindly for us so that we can see. So I'm going to share the video of Katrina's blood analysis. And again, just put a 1 in the chat. Just make sure you can hear this okay.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. Holy smoke.
Look how separate they are.
Wow.
So from there, you should have been able to see what her cells looked like before having a 30-minute PEMF session. Well, actually, she only had a 20-minute one because she used a different device that we have. So before that, the cells were quite clumped together. Now, if our cells are clumped together, think about blood flow trying to get through each individual cell. It's going to be quite hard, isn't it? Then we oxygenate our blood. All the cells start flowing after the session. What do you think is going to then happen? The flow of blood is going to travel through those cells much easier. What happens to that? Toxins, they start to reduce. Inflammation in the body starts to reduce. Stress levels start to reduce. Everything happens through the blood. Everything happens through our cells. So no, I am not saying that every single person here or every single person in the world is going to feel healed from whatever problem they have. But what I am going to say is, if they were to increase the energy that goes through their body, then something positive is bound to happen. So this is why women finally start sleeping, they start recovering, they start healing, and they start to feel energetic again, because something that was flat or something that was dead has been brought alive. So of course, positivity has to happen. Now, I went to Iram's house and I showed Iram what tends to happen when somebody has a session who's not really got great blood flow and their body's dysregulated. When you're having a PEMF therapy session, your cells will respond according to the magnetic waves that are going through your body. Now, if your cells at the point of you having a session are quite flat, then the indicator from that will be a red flashing signal on the voltage pen that we use. So I'm actually going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so that is just showing you that before Iram's session started, she'd probably been on the PEMF therapy machine about a minute or two. Before the session started, could you see how much red the pen was flashing? So that's just showing that at that point, her cells are absorbing all of the magnetic waves because it needs it. So while it's absorbing all of the magnetic waves, she's not really feeling anything that's taking place. But from the video that we saw previously with her cells, Katrina's cells being individualized and flowing, we know that that's taking place in Iram's body. So then obviously I'm going to show Iram about 20-25 minutes in her session how her cells are now responding, and now you'll be able to see that for yourself. Okay, so you should have been able to see that the color of the voltage pen has now turned amber. That is indicating that her cells have received enough charge. So red, we saw that it was taking it all in because it needed it. And then amber, it's received what it's needed to receive. So when we're having a PMF therapy session, it is non-invasive. You can't really feel anything that's taking place, but that shows you that something is taking place because cells have energy. And when your cells are given what it's needed, your body can then regulate itself again. So in the last 12 months, I've seen women sleep through the night, reduce pain, feel calmer, restore their energy, feel like themselves again. Who has said, I'd love to feel like myself again? Put a me in the chat or a one in the chat if you have said, I'd love to feel like myself again. What does that feel like? And why are you not feeling like yourself again? This is not random. This is what happens when the body is supported properly. If you support your body properly, you feel at peace, you feel regulated. Who loves going away on holiday and your bed's made for you? Someone's cooking your meals for you. Someone's cleaning your room. Someone's cleaning your bathroom. You feel regulated, you feel great, but guess what happens? You got to come home. It doesn't last. That's just temporary. But what if you didn't have to feel like that temporarily? The 3-step nervous system reset is to help you recharge, to help you regulate, and to help you restore because you want to feel like yourself again. I wanted women to not have to have a holiday for them to feel great. I've coached for nearly 16 years and women are like, oh, I've got a holiday booked in September. I can't wait. And I'm like, 4 months away. What? You got to wait for 4 months before you feel good again? No. I want my clients to have something where they have access to it on a daily basis, where they feel at peace every day, where their body feels energized every day. I don't want them to have to wait till they go to a spa. I don't want them to have to wait till they go to, on holiday or to a hotel. I want them to feel good every single day because they deserve to feel good every single day. Not just once a month when your massage is booked with the therapist. Not just when you go into physio to feel some relief on your knee. Not just when things get really bad. Don't wait for your hair to fall out to do something about it. You want to prevent things. You don't want to wait until it's too late to then start going, oh, what am I going to do now? Because sometimes it's irreversible. Unfortunately, my mum will always have dementia. It's not going to go. So if you know that there is something happening with you right now that you can reverse, then you want to reverse it. You don't want to wait until you're burnt out and dysregulated to the point where you can't reverse it. Because I've seen people's mental health decline to the point where they've had to be admitted because it's too late. They can't change. Don't get to that point. Daily support is necessary. And for a dysregulated body, that is what you should be doing. And PEMF therapy helps with that. And nowadays, 100 years ago, people were having PEMF therapy in clinics, in hospital settings. Nowadays, people are enjoying it in their home, at their place of work. People are going to a salon to get their nails done. And at the same time that they're having their nails done, they're placing their feet on a PEMF therapy machine. And for 30 minutes, their whole body's being recharged and regulated while their nails are being done. I've got clinics worldwide. I've got clinics in Canada, South Africa, America, helping clients to not only look good on the outside when they've had a treatment, but to walk out feeling better on the inside. Now it's becoming more accessible. And the good thing about having something that's in your home is you can't say, oh, I didn't have time to go. Who says I didn't have time to go to the gym? Oh, I don't have time to go. If you don't have time to put the plug in and put your feet on a device while you're probably watching TV, maybe reading a book, maybe just sitting there chilling. If you say, I don't have time, then you're more dysregulated than you know, because you should be able to spare 20 minutes to regulate yourself. So this is designed for real life, to be used daily, to help with sleep, to help with pain, to help with recovery. Now, you might still be wondering, but can it really make a difference? Because obviously, like me, if it's something that you'd never heard of, you may be asking yourself, how is PEMF therapy going to help me? Now, the good thing is, many people now know about ChatGPT or some kind of AI tool. You can go into ChatGPT, you can go into any AI tool and type in, does PEMF therapy help with, and ask it to help you with whatever it is you might have. Does PEMF therapy help with arthritis, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, sleep, whatever it is you might have? Just ask AI and it will give you the answer. So you don't even have to have a skill or a qualification to be knowledgeable about PEMF therapy. The research has been done for us. That's the beauty of it. Now, once you've done the research, you might be thinking, oh, so which kind of PEMF device should I buy? Because now let's think about it. Before I started using PEMF therapy and before I started offering it in my clinic and giving it to my clients, I got it for my mom. Now, as my mom's carer, I weren't just going out there buying any device. I'm not just going to go and look at the most cheapest thing I can get my hand on. I'm helping my mom to recharge at a cellular level, and I need to make sure what she's using is legit. So I'm doing my own research into the quality of the products that I'm going to choose. Now, thankfully, when I came across the PEMF device, which this one in particular, which I use, is made by Life. And the good thing is, it's backed by partners who we're familiar with. So Michael Owen, the England footballer, he's the brand ambassador for the UK for the Life products. And I thought, well, we all know Michael Owen. Well, we should do anyway. And then we've got Busy Bone. Does anybody remember Bone Thugs in Harmony? There was a lead singer called Brian, and he was known as Busy Bone. So again, he's another Life PEMF device user. And I was like, right, I know him. So I want to make sure that if I'm giving my mom a PEMF therapy device and I've never heard of PEMF therapy, I need to choose something that I know is of good quality. So this video here is just going to show you a behind the scenes of how Life make their products, so that if you are going to start researching a device, what you don't want to do is get something just because it's cheap or just because you've seen it on eBay. You want to make sure that it's got good quality.
Life is built on one foundational technology, engineered PEMF. So before we talk about safety, testing, or certifications, it's important to understand what kind of PEMF Life uses and how it's delivered, because not all PEMF is the same. PEMF stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Field. Unlike a static magnet, PEMF works through controlled electromagnetic pulses. In PEMF, it's not just about magnetic strength. What matters is the signal itself, the frequency, the waveform, and how that signal changes over time. That's why Life engineers its products using two distinct PEMF approaches, depending on the design and purpose of each device. The first is low-frequency PEMF, created by running low-frequency alternating current through electromagnetic coils. This approach is used in products like the Shaken Massager, Galaxy G1, Vitality Wand, and certain P90 Plus attachments. The second is high-frequency PEMF, generated using high-frequency alternating current, used in the Terra P90 and Terra P90 Plus. Rather than a one-size-fits-all system, each Life product is engineered around a specific PEMF frequency profile. In addition to PEMF, the Terra P90 and P90 Plus, and select products like the Vitality Wand, also incorporate terahertz frequency output, which Life's technical materials describe as having strong penetration, reaching approximately 3 to 5 centimeters beneath the skin. This combination of engineered PEMF frequencies and terahertz output is what makes Olilife's technology platform technically distinct. And once you understand how this technology works, the next question naturally becomes, how is it tested? And how does Olilife verify its safety? In the wellness industry, almost anyone can make claims. What separates real companies from hype is independent third-party testing. Olilife works with Intertek, which is one of the top 3 third-party testing laboratories in the world for device safety and compliance. Intertek is a globally recognized organization trusted by major manufacturers across electronics, medical devices, and consumer technology. They don't sell products, they test them. That's important because it means Olilife isn't testing its own devices. Independent experts are. In addition, across Olilife as a company, this commitment to verification is supported by a patent portfolio exceeding 1,000 patents, including both granted patents and patents currently under application. Let's start with the Terra P90. This device has passed international electrical safety standards required in Europe and many global markets. Beyond safety, the Terra P90 was also tested to confirm it emits terahertz and PEMF wavelengths. Independent laboratories measured the radiation spectrum and energy output using calibrated instruments, confirming the technology is measurable and verifiable, not just a claim. Anyone can say PEMF. Very few companies actually test and document it. The Terra P90 is also supported by a patent portfolio of over 200 patents protecting its technology and design. The Terra P90 Plus takes this even further. It is supported by over 200 patents protecting its advanced technology as well. It is also FDA registered in the United States. This does not mean medical claims. As noted by PEMF industry experts, FDA registration means a device is FDA listed, FDA compliant, and manufactured to meet stringent safety and quality standards. It means accountability, responsibility, and compliance. When you combine patents, international safety testing, and FDA registration, you create a very high barrier to entry. That makes this technology extremely difficult to copy or duplicate. The Galaxy G1 is backed by over 100 patents, protecting its core technology. Like the other Olilife devices, it has passed international safety standards to ensure it meets recognized global requirements. This confirms the device is not only innovative, it's responsibly built. The Vitality Wand is a standalone product with its own testing and verification. It has passed international safety testing and is protected by over 100 patents covering its creation. And just like the other devices, it's been independently tested to confirm terahertz wavelength emission and detectable PEMF frequency output. That means real measurements and real data, not assumptions. The Shaken Massager is FDA registered in the United States and protected by over 200 patents, including 21 patents registered in the United States. It combines 7 time-tested, scientifically studied technologies into one safe, non-invasive wellness platform, a level of engineering and transparency that's rare in the wellness space. At the end of the day, Olilife isn't about shortcuts. It's about testing before selling, verifying before claiming, and building products the right way. That's why people trust the brand. That's why the technology is difficult to duplicate. And that's why when you share Olilife, you're sharing something built on safety, credibility, and real verification.
Okay, so you can understand when I'm researching something that's not for me, but for obviously somebody I care for, I have to make sure that the thing they're using is a good quality product. So hopefully that's helped you to understand the quality that Olilife, that they make sure that their devices are patent tested. And you're going to see a lot of replicas out there, maybe on Amazon or eBay, or maybe, some other site, who knows. But just make sure if you're going to choose something that isn't Olilife, that it has its own warranty, that it's patent tested, that they've got certificates. Because when we're bringing energy into our body, we need to make sure that we're bringing in the right energy so that we're getting the right result. So that's exactly why I felt confident. And when we're thinking about PEMF therapy in clinics, because PEMF therapy is absolutely accessible in private clinics. It's accessible to celebrities, to athletes, lots of tennis players, basketballers. They will have PEMF therapy as part of their recovery. And of course, they're going to go to a clinic where they're lying on a bed with a $40,000 device and they're going to get whatever they get from it. And that's great. But that's not something they can utilize every day. That's not something that helps them to get a recovery experience every day. It's not portable. They can't just sit on it at the desk while they're at work or at home. So we're looking at something that is accessible, that it can be used at work, that can be used at home, that can go on the aeroplane with you in your hand luggage, something that can help you every single day. So when we're thinking about healing, it does require consistency, because if you're somebody who has experienced going to the gym consistently and then all of a sudden stopping, what happens when you stop? Goes back to square one. All that muscle gone. Muscle has memory, so it can come back fast, but it's gone. And then you start thinking, oh man, I've put back on my 2 stone that I lost. Why? Because you weren't consistent with the food that you was eating that got you the 2 stone off. So we know that with all things, for us to get a good result and to maintain the result, we need to be consistent. So if we're using PEMF therapy on a monthly basis, okay, we might get a result for 72 hours, but until we use it again, what's going to happen? The pain's going to come back. The sleep's going to be disrupted. The stress levels are going to come back. So if we can use it daily to prevent that from happening, of course, healing will start to happen, because this is designed for real life. You can support your body every single day. You have 2 options. Option 1 is to experience PEMF therapy. If you've never experienced it, this is why I asked you, where are you from in the UK? Because I have partners that are located all over the UK. And if you've never had a session, go and get a session complimentary without having to pay for your first time. Go and get a complimentary session and experience it and just see, is this for me? Is this something that I can feel myself doing every day? Because remember, 20 minutes out of your life is a sacrifice. Try the technology, feel the difference. And after that, you might want more sessions. And if you want more sessions, in my clinic, it's £45. In other clinics, it's whatever they charge. So you might want more sessions. That's option 1. Option 2 is, I don't even want sessions. I just know that I want to buy it. I want my own device. I want it every day. And that might be your other option. And when we see people that go from either a complimentary session to owning a device, or a complimentary session to having a few sessions after that and then owning a device, they then realize that it wasn't just for them. Because if you're living in a house with anybody over the age of 14, though those other people in your house all have a need. Children have a need. Children are stressed. Children are anxious. Some have ADHD, autism, whatever they have, and they will find their relief themselves. And then you might have husbands, wives that have their own problem, and they're going to find their relief for whatever they have. And then you've got you, and yours is going to be for whatever your reason is. So when you're owning something that isn't just for you, then everyone at home is benefiting. You're going to have better sleep. You're going to reduce your stress. You're going to recover. And if you're somebody like me who goes to the gym but doesn't want to feel the pain of going to the gym, oh, my legs are still hurting from last session. Now I can't really go as heavy on the weights because my legs are still hurting. I don't want that feeling. I want to go heavy on the weights. So I'm going to use my PEMF device and I'm going to recover faster so I can keep going heavier. So sometimes it's not about pain and it's not about sleep. Sometimes it's just about recovery. And if you want that recovery, you can have that from as little as £850 is what our devices start from. And when I say as little as, because you cannot put a price on sleep deprivation or pain. Now, if this only helped you sleep, would it be worth it? I'm talking about conversations I've had with women who are telling me over the last 10 years, I haven't had more than 6 hours sleep a night. What? If you could get 8 hours sleep on a regular basis, would you find that worth it? Put a 1 in the chat if you would find sleeping 8 hours a night worth it. Loads of 1s. If it gave you your energy back, because so many women say, I want to feel like me again. What does that mean, by the way? I want to feel like me again. Does it mean having more energy? Does it mean looking a certain way? Does it mean not having so many mood swings? Does it mean having thicker hair? What does it mean? If for you right now, your energy is on the floor and you would love your energy to come back, put a 2 in the chat if it would be worth it for you to have an increased amount of energy. Of course. And now, if you could go back to feeling like the person that you felt when you say, I want to feel like that person again, would it be worth it? Absolutely it would. What is 1 more year costing you of sleep deprivation? What's it costing you? And I'm going to be honest with you. When I coach women, confidentially, I coach women, but I hear so many stories of relationships breaking down. And that 1 more year where you could have slept better could have maybe saved your relationship. Maybe that 1 more year, if you had better energy, could have saved the surgery on the knee joint or whatever, the hip, the replacement, the metal in your body now. Maybe that 1 more year of recovery could have stopped you from having all those mood swings and outbursts. But if you keep going the way you are now, what's it going to cost you? Well, you don't know until you experience it, but why are you waiting to experience it? Why wait for that 1 year to see what happens? You want to sleep better. You want to feel more energetic. You want to feel confident, and you want to improve your quality of life. If all those things matter to you, put a 1 in the chat. Improving your sleep, increasing your energy, increasing your confidence and your quality of life. Those things should matter to you. Now, these women who thought nothing would work for them, who have come to my clinic, who are now messaging me saying, I cannot believe that I'm not feeling that pain. When I was told by my GP, just get on with it. There's nothing more we can do. These women that thought that 3, 4, 5 hours sleep a night was just the norm now for them. And that's just it, I'm 50 now, I'm 60 now. This is how it's been for the last 10 years. They thought nothing would work for them, and now they're sleeping 8 hours for my mum, 12 and 13. It's mad. Because you just settle for believing that nothing can change. But now they're finally feeling relief again. You got Charlene messaging me telling me she's cut her lawn and her mom's lawn, but yet 2 weeks ago she had no energy. That's relief. So again, today you got 2 choices. Stay where you are, or find the root and support it. Find the root cause of why you're not sleeping, of why you feel in pain, of why you're anxious, of why you're stressed. Figure it out, fix the root, and then you'll be able to feel like yourself again. So get started, get yourself booked in with a complimentary session if you've not already had one, because it's for you to feel what PEMF feels like. Whoever invited you to the call today, if it was not me, reach back out to that person and say, how can I get booked in? Give me a session, man. I need to find out if PEMF therapy can help me. If it was me that invited you, book in for a session. If you've already had a session and you're still thinking, should I invest in a device? Well, that's for you to answer. That's not for me to answer. But then think about who in my house could also benefit. What's the age ranges of those of the people in your house? What different issues do those people have? Just remember that at the beginning of the call, you may have felt like your body was broken. You may have felt like there's nothing more that you can do. Oh, my belly fat's with me for life. No, your belly fat is not with you for life. Your belly fat is with you if you keep living the way you keep living. Okay? You want to do something about the way you're living, then you'll get rid of your belly fat. You want to do something about the way you're living, you'll improve your sleep. You're not broken. You are fixable. Your body just needs the support. So now you know where to start. It's for you now to take that action. Now, a lot of people, they have various questions about PEMF therapy. Go ahead in the chat and ask me a question if you've got one. But these are genuinely the questions that I get asked. Now, somebody would say to me, is it safe? Absolutely, PEMF therapy is safe if you do not have a pacemaker. If you have a pacemaker or someone in your house has a pacemaker, no, they cannot use it. You cannot have an electrical device being charged with electric or electromagnetic waves. So no, you cannot have a pacemaker. If you're pregnant, you cannot use it until after you've had the baby. And if you have a blood clot, you cannot use it. Those are the 3 contraindications. If you do not have any of those contraindications, yes, it is absolutely safe. How often should you use PEMF therapy? Well, we've spoke about it today. Every day. Every day you want to feel good in your body, so you should use it every day. What does it feel like? For those that are tolerant to magnetic waves, they'll feel some sort of pins and needle type sensations. And if your blood flow is quite poor, then you'll feel some tingling in the area that has poor blood flow. That could be your fingertips, that could be your toes, that could be your shoulders. It could be anywhere where your blood isn't flowing, and you'll feel some little popping sensations. It's quite relaxing. There's no pain. And how quickly do people notice changes? Well, that varies, and that depends on what the problem is that the person has. I've seen it happen. I've seen somebody have an experience there and then in their first session. And I've also seen people have a good experience after a few sessions. So it really does just depend on what the problem is and what you may have. But these are generally the questions that I'll get asked. But if you yourself have another question, ask in the chat what it is, and then I'll answer it. But also remember, you can ask AI anything. ChatGPT will give you... Remember, AI is not 100% accurate with everything, but there's so much research on PEMF therapy, and AI pulls its research from the internet and gives you the answer. So you can always ask there. So if there's no questions, guys, that's me. That's your nervous system. That's keeping you stuck. Nothing else. It is fixable. So if you weren't able to get all of it, maybe you was busy, there will be a replay that I'll be sending out to you that you can watch over again. But as I say, you can get your... Let me just share my link. If it was me that invited you in, then you can get an experience from me. Oh, actually, it's coming to you on email. So I'll send you out an email with a link to book a session. Okay. If you haven't already had a session from me and you're in the West Midlands in Birmingham, do you know something? I've actually had people travel 40 miles to my clinic to come and have a session. So you don't even have to be in Birmingham. If you want to come and travel and make it a day out, go and get some lunch after, come and have a nice hour, lovely experience with some PEMF therapy. If somebody has invited you to the call, then go and book a session in with them and feel what it's like for you and see if it's something that you could see yourself experiencing every single day. So thanks for joining. Have a good evening, and I'll see you all soon.